going on, YouTube? For about, I say 8 months, right? I walked away from this whole entire shit. And let me tell you what did it for me, honestly. It's just the fact that, I reached a place where I got tired of talking. And I still was talking, but I was doing it on Snapchat. But I didn't want to be in the YouTube mix per se. I kind of felt like my effort was falling on deaf ears. I felt like I was repeating myself, and I need nipple tape. Fuck it. I mean, the hell with it. I'm about to just roll with it. But no, I just got to a point where, I guess I felt like I was over expressing myself because sometimes when I'm expressing, I feel like I'm talking too much. Like I personally feel like I'm saying way too much sometimes. So I mean, in reality, I never let the ability die. I was still doing it on the slick. I just wasn't really like posting to YouTube. I could have like screen recorded and put up a bunch of shit. I just wasn't feeling it. So I'm guessing I'm trying to get back into this loop, and we're gonna see where this goes again. I mean, because clearly I have a passion for talking. I just don't know if I have a passion for all the nonsense that I guess comes with it. I don't be one to argue behind points. Like, if me and a person can have a conversation about a point, and it can be one of those things where we can, say your side, I say my side, then I'm more willing to talk. You know what I mean? But most folks want to argue, and I don't like to argue. But, I guess, let's see. I had two topics in mind. One is more important than the other. So I guess I'll start off with this one. First things first. Well, second thing second. Rest in peace to Takeoff. And it's a terrible situation where a motherfucker gotta, well, was not a motherfucker, but when somebody gotta die from gun violence. You know, I don't know how New York is as far as gun violence. I know it happens in New York City, but as far as Buffalo, I've never really ran into it or seen it. I know it happens up here, but I don't particularly run into those circles of people that do that type of stuff. You know, and I guess that's my point with him dying, right? I'm from down south, and the way the culture is down south is, I'm the kind of person I'd rather fist fight you. I'd rather fist fight you. We scrap and then be done with it. But those times have changed. No one really fist fights down south no more. Everything, if you do fist fight somebody, you better hope it's just a fist fight, and you better hope that's the end of it. You know, that's a lot of how my culture from down there has changed. A lot of that has evolved quite a bit. You can't necessarily even argue with a person without it turning into gun violence. But the thing I hate about the whole offset thing the most, not offset, Jesus Christ, takeoff. The thing I hate about takeoff, takeoff's death the most is that, he was involved with some old shit that he wasn't really supposed to be involved with. Like, okay, if I'm a multimillionaire, right? And I know I'm worth something and I got people that work for me, family to take care of, you gotta move within a certain kind of life. You can't act any kind of way. You can't keep doing the same old hood shit. Like, I moved up here from Georgia, right? For a better life. Because I'm from the stuff that got him killed, I'm from that. I've been around the dice games, I've seen the hood shit, and it's, to me, it's one of those things, man. I don't feel like it's worth it. It don't sit with me right. It sits with me really messed up. It's really messing my sister up above all else, And it's a funny feeling. It's a really funny feeling. I don't. I'm at this age now. I'm 33, right? I don't like ghetto ass shit. I don't like ghetto shit. Like this past weekend for Halloween, me and my girlfriend we went and hung at the gay club. And most guys have a negative stigma about the gay club. But when you actually enter into a gay club, a lot of those guys be running their own fucking business. Yeah, you might see some old weird shit. Oh, hey, Peach. You might see some weird shit going on, but I mean, ain't nobody really. I'm not in fear of getting my head shot off, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, when I go into most bars and most clubs, because I've been indoctrinated in that culture of nonsense so long and trauma, that when I go into most bars, right, and I see too many of my own kind of people, like, and I'm not talking about black people, I mean, like, when I see too much hood shit going on, I can't necessarily let loose and drink the same way because even when you drunk, you got to be watching your back out here, you know. And it sits with me funny that you got to sit here and really, I mean, and I guess it's that way in most places, but you got to sit here and have your head on a complete swivel at all times. Know what the hell's going on, know who you're around, know who's doing what. Like, I've been in plenty of clubs where we've been hanging out, you getting drunk, enjoying yourself, having fun, and then next thing you know, somebody shoot that motherfucker up. And it's a terrible thing. It's to the point where I'm starting to dislike my own people. Not so much because, okay, not so much because on some racist shit, but it's just like everything that white folks say about black people to some degree, I'm not saying it's completely true, but to some degree, we bring it on ourselves. We really bring it on ourselves. And I hate that, that the culture's like that. You can't go nowhere. Y'all can't, we can't act right nowhere. We can't act civilized. You know what I mean? You can't get too drunk while to be in a fight. I've never been to, like, okay, I remember going to a Shania Twain concert. Swain, whoever. I remember going to a Shania Twain concert with my girlfriend a while back, right? And nobody that was at that concert was on that. Like, I'm not saying white people are that much better, but I'm saying nobody was at that concert was on it. And I'm starting to learn to appreciate that energy more because the more you hang around it, the more coming from the nonsense I come from, at first I was like, I'm funny about it because it wasn't my vibe. They weren't playing the music I was playing. But sometimes you got to just be thankful for being able to go out, enjoy yourself, and not have to worry about a bunch of, bullshit popping off. Like, it's not a good feeling when you drunk and you hear a bunch of gunshots and you got to get down, bro. Like, the way that man died, like, he wasn't even in the dice game. Like, you shooting, you a multi-millionaire, but y'all shooting dice with, like, street niggas. Like, you should be somewhere in a loft, somewhere in Dubai, somewhere on a boat, somewhere doing some other shit. Like, you can't, grow up in the ghetto, get out the ghetto, and still do ghetto ass shit and think nothing gonna happen to you. Like, most rappers that get killed in their own hood. Like, and it's we do it to our own kind, bro. And I really hate that we're like that. I really do dislike that we're like that toward our own people. Like, I really dislike how black people move around. I really dislike it because I mean, it's like how you expect anybody else to take us serious when you don't take yourself serious. It's not a good look for nobody. It's not a good feel for no one. It don't make me feel good. I actually felt that when you grow up in that shit, to you it's normal. But when you tell that shit to anybody else that don't grow up in the hood, that shit sounds fucking crazy and bonkers as fuck. Like, it is hard to sell someone on some hood shit that is not from the hood. Like, that shit don't feel good. And a lot of us walk around with this bully attitude, like we don't gotta give a fuck about nobody. Like, motherfuckers could just be rude to people, act nasty to folks, like start shit, be disrespectful. Like, and it's a very nasty way to carry yourself, man. And that whole thing, like, my sister is really torn up about it. I mean, she grew up off the Migos. She's like 3 years younger than me. So she grew up off the Migos. So to her, it's like the next worst thing next to Gucci Mane dying. Like, it's that bad. And it's just, black people are getting on my nerves currently, man. It makes me feel fucked up. It makes me feel funny. I don't feel good toward my own people. I don't feel great about it. Like, it makes me not want to be around nobody. Like, I'd rather hang with the white folk. And it's sad that I got to think like that, man. It is sad. It is terrible that you can't even, have a dice game, which really you're not supposed to. I wouldn't even recommend doing that. Like, since I've been in Buffalo, I don't hang with Buffalo niggas, bro. I don't hang with motherfuckers from East Side Buffalo like that. If we not going to lift no weights, we not talking about no business or nothing to better myself, then what are we friends for? And I mean, if we not going on no cruises, traveling, what am I really hanging around you for? Because the people you hang around in the hood a lot of times, or just in general, a lot of times they get you in shit. You know. So again, rest in peace to that man. Rest in peace to that man. It's a terrible thing. It does sit with me funny. So I just shake my head.